interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
Ew. That's all I gotta say is ew. Ew. What's wrong with the light here today? You know what it is? Everything. Go up here like this. Yeah. Gotta get a new lighting director. Why the old lighting director? Oh, that's God. Oh, good morning, folks. I forgot to say good morning. I'm here working with the lighting because it's time to fire the lighting director. It is Tuesday, September 12th, 2023. The lips and tongue are not woken up yet. Yeah, Tuesday. I'm not loving Tuesday. I don't know why, but Tuesday is not my favorite day of the week. Actually, it's my least favorite. Out of all 7, I prefer Tuesday the least. And I'm not sure exactly why that is, but it is. It is definitely the case. Anyway, I hope it's a beautiful day wherever you are and not so Tuesday-ish. We're going to talk about ageism today. I have a guest that's coming on who's 71, who feels like she's 17. I will dispel her of that mess. I promise you. Anyway, that's what we're going to talk about. Now, I could talk about what happened to me yesterday that proved to me that I am not even remotely close to 17 or even 37 or even 57 at this point. But I'll save that for when she's here so I can depress her, because the reality is we're all broken old people. Ageism can mean a lot of things, though, and we'll talk about that. I don't want to have to talk before my guest gets here, but I have a lot of ideas and a lot of thoughts about it. None of them good. I don't have any good ideas. I'm not a person who has good ideas. I have bad ideas every day. Anyway, I found a tool. First of all, thank you, Willie, for making my day yesterday an incredible clusterfuck of dealing with my booking calendar. Holy crap. If you don't know, I guess 2 nights ago, Willie found a post that I had made from probably a month ago looking for guests, because that week I had several bailouts and I was just looking to fill up the calendar. He shared that around in just about every comedy group on Facebook, I guess, or wherever he is on social media. And my God, I just was inundated. That's not a bad thing with comedians and people, not just comedians yesterday either. I got authors, because in the ad that I created, it was looking for musicians and authors and filmmakers and all that, mostly comedians. But the problem is comedians don't know time zones. They don't know how to use a calendar. They don't know how to read instructions. because right in the instructions in the ad, first of all, it says that the show is live from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Monday through Friday, and it's in Eastern time, and the show guests come on at 9:15 Eastern a.m. or 10:15 Eastern a.m. And then I get a request. So they write to me and say, "Yeah, I'm interested in being on the show." Send them to the booking calendar, and it comes back with Sunday at 2 p.m. We don't do Sunday shows at 2 p.m. We don't do 2 p.m. shows. We don't do Sunday shows. Oh, I get it. Comes back with Saturday at 4 p.m. Like, wait, it's 9:15 or 10:15 Monday through Friday. Comes back with another date that is in the past. It's already passed, September 1st or something. It's like endless all day long, going back and forth with comedians about simple English, simple plans to get themselves promoted. A couple of people one person in particular. I don't want to embarrass anybody, but they wanted me to come to Canada, to Chicago, to do the interview in Chicago. They only do it in person. We won't do it remotely, and they're in Chicago, and they're not coming to New York unless I can meet them in New York City at a given date when they have a show in the future. Listen, I'm not. This isn't for me. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Jordan just tried to get in here. I blocked him. It's not for me. It's to help promote your shows. And it was it's very crazy. I mean, how difficult is it to understand a calendar, time zones, and that there are two slots on each show? Now, to be fair, I do confuse things with, like, there are some shows, like when Tommy is on, or Tommy Chong is coming on October 6th, where I have him booked for both hours. And somebody wanted to take that second hour, and I was like, sorry, no. And, um, everybody it's hard to even fathom that somebody would think that they're, I don't know, bigger star than Tommy Chong or deserve the time more, but that's what I got. And I said, listen, it could be Tommy and Cheech, and I want to give them both an hour. Two people, 2 hours. That's it. And I'm here trying to make excuses for why I can't give you that hour, which is crazy, crazy, crazy. Good morning, Willie. Are you frozen? No,
No.
you're just happy and
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know. Okay, so I know that I just kind of pop in, right? So when I hit that button, I just sit there and smile because smile for the camera. You gotta be, and until you like say something to me, I don't really want to, you know, say or do anything because I don't want to interrupt you. But I get why that could be. Yeah, I understand now why it's bothersome. I get it. I'll at least move or something so you know
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so I'm real and there.
So, I guess you heard what I was talking about. Are comedians, especially brain broken?
I mean, kind of, yeah. I mean, I think most people get into comedy because they're broken in some way or various different ways or whatever.
This is true, but I would think like time zones is not one of them. I mean, time zones.
I mean, it's odd to me. Like, I don't really have an issue with it, and never really have. But I mean, I travel a lot, and I mean, if you're a traveling comedian, you definitely should like be very aware of the time zone. Like, I may have to like take a second and straighten it out in my, you know what I mean. But I know what they are. You know what I mean. I know how to figure it out.
Yeah. And there's some states that make it extra confusing, like Arizona doesn't change.
That is true. That is definitely true.
I love Arizona for that. Don't change. Nobody should change. We just should stay the same all fucking year. Everybody get on one time zone and make it
Yeah,
simple.
I don't necessarily like it either. I've never been a huge fan of it.
Yeah. So, I'm not kidding, all day long, going back and forth. Now, Glenn Tickle, not Ben Tickle, Ben Tickled. Uh, Glenn Tickle canceled yesterday, but I filled it in with somebody else. I have to go back and fix the calendar, and I got a few more this morning who are still seeing those ads. So thank you for doing that. But boy, when it rains, it pours.
Yeah.
I am very
And
optimistic about
I
where.
think I did do like there was like a film industry one that I threw it in also because like you said there was a bunch of different stuff that you actually had listed on there, not just and so I threw it into that one too.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, man, listen, I love the Mind Dog universe. I will do anything I can to help expand this brand because I think that you're a beautiful person. You do a lot of things to help people
I'm
and
handsome. You didn't say
I'm
handsome. You
always
said
looking to do that.
you have to say handsome. You're a very handsome man. I am. Thanks
Yeah.
for
Now,
asking.
see, okay, I'm. You know what? I will say, I've been on this for a hot minute. I love calling men beautiful. I think especially, especially when there's like I don't know, like a real caring characteristic to that person. I like to say that that's a real beautiful person. You know
All
what I
right.
mean?
I
Um,
appreciate that.
and because that's beautiful. Like your kind heart is beautiful, and it's also rare
I'm the kind of
anymore
guy
in
who
this
kicks
world.
a puppy down the stairs. I'm not a kind heart. I'm a puppy
But
kicker.
okay, yeah, yes, you are though. You
I'm
are
not a puppy kicker.
like
I'd never kick
you
a
may
puppy.
be in disguise, but yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
You get a rough exterior all you like, but we know that there's like a big teddy bear inside there.
I think that's what Erica said. It reminded me of her. Now you talk about beautiful. Listen, I wanted to talk about. Ironically, I wanted to talk about this today. Pink. Pink is one of my favorite artists.
Yeah.
She's really good. I don't think she does enough for her talent. She should be far more. I don't know, in the spotlight, I guess. But
I
today
mean,
is
I
her.
think she does what she wants to do, though. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Oh
I
no,
like,
yeah. I'm just saying. For me, I would like.
right, sure.
I would like to. I would like
I've
more of her.
never seen her show. I would love to see her live
Oh my!
sometime.
There's an HBO special she did several years ago that I'm sure is somewhere on YouTube.
I mean, that's
It
not the same, though.
Oh yeah, but it was so good, so good. I mean, I watched it with my stepdaughter, and she was like, "You're a Pink fan?" I was like, "Yes, it's big
Yeah.
fan." I mean, she's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
But
She's a badass chick.
yeah, today is her birthday,
Oh, well, happy
and
birthday, Pink.
happy birthday, Pink. Somebody posted on Twitter a picture of a woman who is not Pink, but could be Pink if she aged poorly. And since today is about ageism, we're gonna. It struck my mind that this is relevant. Now it's a woman. Now she's not a beauty queen, the woman in the picture, but Pink says, "What a wasted opportunity here. There are so many pictures you could have chosen that were actually me that were worse than this picture. You nameless fucko," she says. At least be creative next time, dum dum. Well, to me, that's insulting this woman because I think this woman thinks she looks beautiful in this picture. There's no need to go there. I mean, this guy was whoever was trying to be insulting. I think he was trying to be insulting, or he could have just could have mistaken this picture for Pink. So I don't know, but to me that's kind of disguised, prejudice to get or putting somebody else down because of her looks.
Right.
Judging this woman on her looks, and I don't, I hate to think Pink is like that, but I could being in her shoes, I probably would feel the same way. You're trying to insinuate that I'm this unattractive person. But maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. I'd have to show you the picture, and I can't really do it
Well,
now.
and
But
I think too, so Pink is actually the kind of person that probably
I
is
know.
upset because he feels like it's a slight to the woman that it actually is.
Yeah, but the way she did it, if this woman read it, she'd probably think that, oh, Pink is calling me ugly. Uh,
Well, yeah. Yeah,
so,
no, I mean,
All right. My guest is here. Are you hanging out, or are you coming
Oh
back
no.
to do
Okay.
news?
So what do you want? When do you want the news?
When they after the segment, after this interview.
Okay. Well, I'll
All right.
just watch on YouTube and then I'll pop back in. Or
All
can I
right.
watch from the back?
Yeah, you can watch from the back, I
Okay,
believe.
I'll just watch
Yeah,
from the
look,
back.
if I
Just
do this, you let me know. Put your hand up, and can you watch from the back? Do that. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Karen Hale is my guest today. She is at the age of 71. She's a podcaster, and most people who are 71 don't even know what a podcast is. Believe me, I'm close enough to 71 to know that most of my friends, most of the people who I grew up with, have no idea what the hell I do. At the age of 71, she still feels like a 17-year-old, which I am going to push back on her just a little bit. She's a podcaster who talks about ageism and growing, not growing old, but evolving and staying young. Karen, welcome to Coffee with the Dog.
Well, thank you. And I've got to correct you. That bio is 2 years old. I'm 73.
73. Well, congratulations. You know what? When I was young, when I was young, I was never young. When I in my 30s and 40s, every time birthdays, I didn't look forward to them, and I dreaded them coming. Sometime around 60, it became a celebration. Look, I've made it. I've made it, and something in my crazy mind, I started lying, putting my a year ahead. So instead, when I turned 63, I started telling people I was 64 just to keep in my mindset that I'm working on 64 and I'm gonna get there. And I just turned 64 now. I'm telling people I'm 65 already. Um, so
So
I
now
don't
it's
know.
time to
My thoughts
retire.
on age change, but in the bio it says you feel like a 17-year-old.
Well, I grew up in a family where my parents always said, you are only as old as you feel.
And what age
And
did you murder them?
what was that?
What age did you murder them?
Um, Very young, no specific age. Um, but what I have learned, especially in the last 10 to 15 years, is if I want to grow old like my grandparents did, um, that's not my lifestyle. And I look back because my grandmother at 50 looked like she was 90. And, I made the choice watching my parents just doing the best they could at every age and not giving up. And you know what? That's exactly how I feel. Uh,
Okay. Good stuff. Now I had a comedian on 2 weeks ago. She's 89 years old. She was doing 2 hours of two shows at Six and Stones Comedy Club out here. 89 years old. And that same day, I was playing at a nursing home for people who were in their 70s and 80s. And the contrast is everybody who I performed for, and there were at least 100 people in the audience that day, none of them could stand up for a minute on their own. They weren't paralyzed; they just couldn't stand for a minute, and they go around in wheelchairs, although they're not paralyzed, like I said. But so I said that to her. I said, most people at your age can't stand up. Never mind perform and sing and dance and tell jokes. They can't stand up for the 2 hours.
you know what? It's not that they can't, but it becomes something that we believe in our mind. You get to a certain age, and you're not supposed to be working anymore. You're only supposed to be doing those fun things. My husband at the age of 73 is working full time. Um, if he wasn't working, he would be one of those people sitting on a chair, not being able to get up.
Well,
And
what does he do? Can I ask what he does?
he's an IT person, and he crawls through ceilings to fix their internet connections, and he crawls on the floor to make sure that all the wires are hooked up, and he programs.
That's pretty cool because as I mentioned in the intro here, most people my age don't even know what a podcast is. So maybe that's why you are technology tuned in, is that your husband's in the IT world anyway. But at 70, whatever age he is, I'm assuming he's in the 70s as well. You don't see a lot of IT guys in their 70s.
No, you don't. You're absolutely correct. So
Right.
And he
So
does it because he loves it.
allow me to, yesterday I had to return a U-Haul van, and nobody here to help me to pick me up and drive me back home. So what I did was my wife bought a bicycle off of uh, Facebook Marketplace because she wants to go bike riding and stay young that way. And she bought me a bike, and I haven't ridden it yet, and then I put it in the back of the U-Haul to ride it home. It's about 5 miles. And I returned the van to U-Haul, got on the bike, and started riding. And I'm going downhill, and everything's beautiful, and then I get the uphill part. And where I live in Shoreham, New York, the place is in Rocky Point, New York. I had to go from Rocky Point to Shoreham, lots of hills, up and down. And somewhere 10 minutes into the thing, I was praying for God to take my life. Uh, and I was sweating, I was huffing and puffing, and I was thinking about you. I don't feel like a 17-year-old on this bike. I feel like a 97-year-old. So there are times where doing things that would be questionable at this age can smack you down and make things worse if you try too hard to be young. And I don't even think I wasn't consciously thinking I can do this. I'm a kid, but damn, on the bike, I was thinking I'm ready. Throw
So
some dirt on me.
prior to yesterday, when was the last time you rode a bike?
At least 10 years ago.
Okay. So again, things that we haven't been doing. Um, I had an injury back in June, and the only exercise I really could do were the things I was learning in physical therapy. Um, and I decided about 3 weeks ago, I'm going to start riding my stationary bike, but with tension, even though physical therapy told me that wasn't a good thing. Uh, but it is a good thing because the more I use that stationary bike with tension, the longer I can stand, the more I can walk, the more I just feel so much better. But the first week or so was difficult. Every time I'd ride the bike, it would be like, could this just be over? Now I'm riding it 30 to 40 minutes a day, and I love it.
Right. What kind of your friend group? I mean, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously because nothing is really obvious, but my friends, the people I was close to all my life, aren't here anymore. They're gone. So I'm making new friends, of course. I mean, life goes on, and
Sure.
but my friend group, the people I'm friendly with are not, if they're my age and I can relate to them, because from your website there it says stuff about being able to relate to people of all ages. I can't. If I'm honest, I have friends who are in their 30s and 40s, but sometimes the conversations are like I don't understand any of this stuff, and I could give you some some topics that we've been talking about on the show lately that probably I don't know might make you feel like that's really gross and offensive. Younger people are just hard to relate to for me. So
Well,
your friends and your peer group and people that I hate to use the phrase hang out with.
well,
What do
I
you?
think I think I'm lucky because my youngest son is in his early 30s. So at 40, when I had him, um, I took on that young persona like I did with my first son when I was in my 20s. And so I think in some ways that has kept me a little fresher. Now, it's not to say that I like everything that the young kids do today. I too can stand there and say, I don't understand and don't relate, but I like hearing it and trying to understand because I'm sure our parents had the same issues with
I
us when we were growing up.
I really doubt that. I don't really want to get into because I talk to a lot of comedians and young people, sexual preferences and the openness of some and willingness to talk about some of these things that make me blush. Now, I was never that kind of person. I'm not a prude. I always considered myself somebody who worked very blue. But the things they talk about today, they make me embarrassed. They make me feel I can't relate. So it's difficult for me. I mean, I don't know how you deal with that, but that's ageism goes both ways, right? We have because I want this idea about the both the presidential candidates that we have right now, the president and the former president who is running, both have questions about, are they too old to serve? And I think the answer is yes, but I don't want it to be mandatory because, as I said, I had an 89-year-old who was sharp as a tack on. So the number doesn't matter, but I do think that as you get older, you should have to pass some really strong tests to prove that you're not in decay, because I think it does happen. I've spotted it in myself, some cognitive decline and stuff like that. So driver's license tests, the ability to serve in public service and things like that. It sounds like it's being discriminatory, though, to say, because we don't necessarily have that for young people, to say you prove that you're worthy. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not so sure it's about going through testing. I think that we have to develop something where as we're growing older, we are still learning. And I think so many people say, well, I went to college when I was in my 20s. I don't have to learn anymore. Well, that's not really the case. I was always taking online courses. When my youngest son was graduating from high school, I decided to go back to school to complete my bachelor's and get my master's degree. Not necessarily to use it in a job, but I needed it for myself. I needed more education. I needed to understand things better. And I'm so grateful that I did it, because when I went to college when I was 18, I didn't do very well. Okay. I was there to have fun, and my grades showed it. But when I was 50 and going back to school, let me tell you, I just relished everything I learned.
Oh yeah, I would love the opportunity to. When I was 50, I couldn't because I was working 20 hours a day. I was gung ho into every career that I've ever had, and that was part of my problem in life. Everything I've done, I've thrown myself into 150% if
Sure.
that would possible. But I love learning too. I consider myself a lifelong learner. But we do have people like in the driving exist. I know that at some point I'm going to have the self awareness to tell myself it's time to stop driving. Now I'm not there yet, but I see people who are clearly a danger to society on the road.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
old
Yeah.
ladies where you just see their hands up here on the wheels, and it's not old, just feminine thing. It's men, old men too. They just refuse to acknowledge that they're that, and like Mitch McConnell, he's determined to stay in power, even though he's having these little mini strokes,
Right.
and that are they've got to be really embarrassing to him. So that's part of it. Is older people have to have enough self awareness to know I can't do this anymore. And but it's hard. It's hard to because that feels like resigning to dying, right? Because
Well,
when you stop growing, you start dying.
I know when my mother was also had a number of mini strokes, and the last mini stroke she had, she was in the hospital for 3 days. And the doctor just came in on the third day and said, I am releasing you, but I need to know where your car keys are. And she looked at him and she said, what do you need my keys for? He said, you can do just about everything you want to do. I don't want you driving, because if you're driving, you may survive an accident. But what if you killed somebody?
Yeah. That,
And she had been saying that to us for quite a while. But because she was living alone, she thought that if she gave up her car keys, we were going to make her move in with us. And we said, no, we're going to help you wherever you're going to live. And you know what? She enjoyed it because she actually hated driving.
wow. What are your thoughts? Because I always on retirement, I'm trying to find a way to phrase this the way I want to really say it. But I've always been of the belief that once you stop working, Now, that doesn't mean necessarily working for somebody else or doing a job you hate, but once you stop actively wanting to do something productive with your life, that's when you start dying. I have a friend who's younger than me. He's still working, but he when he turns 65, he plans on retiring and going to Florida and play pickleball or shuffleboard or that kind of stuff. And I'm like, you have to have something. He plays in a band now, but he's going to give that up when he's turned 65 and just go play shuffleboard. And I'm like, once you resign to that, you're going to get old really fast. Once you
Oh,
stop having that passion for something, anything, that's when you become like aging uh, exponentially increases, and you become 2 days older for every day you live, or 3 days. I don't know. What's your
well,
take on
this,
retirement?
this way I don't really like when they, build these senior villages and they say, oh, go live there. You'll be amongst all your friends. Well, maybe initially if you're in your late 50s or 60s, but then you start seeing more and more people who are dying, more and more people who can't do things. Um, my two sons know that their dad and I, we never want to live in a senior village because having children running up and down the street brings more life into our lives
Right.
each day.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't have any grandkids, but all the kids who live around here, they can be my kids and my grandkids.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it.
Yeah. I think, there's some, all of that kind of stuff, because they do bring, it's weird that they bring puppies and kittens and even other animals as young ones into nursing homes to kind of give people that feeling. They don't bring humans though as
Yeah, it's
kids.
true.
They don't bring kids around. I think kids will keep you young, and I appreciate messing with kids and making them laugh and that kind of stuff. I think that that's one of the joys in life. um, you're now New Cleveland Radio. I'm assuming .net. I'm assuming you're in Cleveland. Right?
Well, yes, we are. So New Cleveland Radio actually was started for my youngest son, who was very much into sports. He still is. And he was going to turn it into a very special sports network. But then he got a job working for the Cleveland Guardians, who were the Indians, and
Oh,
he couldn't do his podcast anymore. And so he just handed it over to me and said, Mom, you've been podcasting for a while, change it up and do what you want to do with it.
very
And
cool.
so here I am.
Well, good
And
for him. You
yeah,
know what? Anybody who gets a dream job, I mean that that will keep you young in itself. Is doing what you want to do with your life. I mean,
absolutely.
there are
Yes.
so many people of our generation. I can say our generation. You're close enough. You're. I think you're one of the first boomers, and I'm kind of a late boomer, born in 1959, and there is a difference between the 1945 to 1955 people and the 1955 to 1964
Sure.
people, generationally. But they lump us into the same generation. But I think a lot of our generation were brought up on the idea you get one job, you stay with it for 30 years, you get your gold watch, you retire, all that kind of stuff. Today, the mindset is very different. It's, be of many different, move around a lot, upward mobility within a career, and not necessarily thinking towards 30 years and a gold watch within
Right.
one kind of thing.
Right.
So good for your son. I'm glad he's doing that. Are you a big sports fan?
Because of him, absolutely.
Okay.
Now he's working with the WNBA down in Dallas. So now I'm all about women's basketball.
What is wow, women's basketball? That's a whole other thing
Yeah.
to crack. Uh, I forgot what I was going to ask you about that. Oh, what does he do for them? Is he in
So,
broadcasting or?
well, no, he's doing their merchandising for them. And, you know, his original dream was to be an actual baseball player. And he took lessons for years. However, he's high functioning autistic. And in his mind, when he played, he had to play like the major leaguers. And coaches in middle school and high school, they don't go for that.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
have their own rules.
Right.
And finally, he said, I'm not going to play anymore. If I can't play under the basic rules, I'm out.
All right. So avoid the maze. What is that? Because I have newclevelandradio.net. What is avoid the maze? The name of the podcast? What?
Yes, Avoid the Maze is my podcast. I host a number of podcasts with other podcast hosts under New Cleveland Radio. But I started Avoid the Maze for people who they've had this dream all their life of what they want to do, but they're stuck in the maze of I have to work my job 40 hours a week. I have to take care of my family another 20 hours a week. And when they add it all up, it's like, when is it time for me?
Yeah.
And there is time, and I heard you sort of relate to that, I was working a corporate job and I was putting in 60 hours a week, even though I was only scheduled for 40. And I kept saying, when is it time for me? And my husband said to me, when you start working 40 hours a week, you'll find time. And I cut back. I started podcasting, and it was like, there is time. There is life beyond corporate America.
All right. There's a catch-22 here. The people who need to hear your message most are young people who are probably not inclined to be your audience.
Right.
That's a tough thing to say. I'll tell you a little story, and I'll try to make it quick because I've told it 10,000 times. But I was buying an amplifier for a guitar off of Craigslist, and the guy wanted to meet in a mall parking lot. And I thought that was very weird because for an amplifier, you got to go and plug it in, test it out. But okay. And I got there before him. He pulled up, and I could tell by the vehicle he was in that he was very wealthy. And he was with his wife who was covered in diamonds and pearls, and she smelled like, like like Tiffany's.
Yeah.
Like she smelled rich, smelled like money. And we were talking, and he asked me what I did, and I said I played in a band. And he said, "Oh, you're living the dream." And I laughed. I laughed in his face. I said, "You don't know the life I live. It's very hard. I'm not a rock star. I'm not rich and famous." And he said, "Stop." And this was several years ago. And he said, "I'm 69 years old. I'm retiring. Obviously, I did very well in the commodities market. You can see that." He said, "I always wanted to play in the band. You're living my dream." He said, "And I'm selling you my amplifier now. That's significant. A significance of I'm giving up on this dream. It's too old for me to be a rock star at 69 or be in a band at 69." And I thought, well, maybe that's not true. You could be in a band. You're just not it's going to be tough to find people your age who are wanting to do it with you and all, and getting started is the toughest thing. But what an paradigm shift thinking, wow, this guy would trade places with me. He's super wealthy, but he waited his whole life to pursue his dream, and then it was too late. And that's a sad statement. So I think that young people are the ones, to hear that I don't want to get to be 69 before I figure out it's time for me. And then there's really not a lot of time for you because physically the realities is
Sure.
physically you can't do everything you used to do. So I think, how do you market it to younger people so that they'll be willing to actually listen to the message that you are delivering?
Well, actually, 40% of our listeners are 20 to 35.
Wow.
And
Women? I'm assuming women.
No,
Right.
men,
Really?
which always amazes me.
Yeah, me too.
But and I hear from them. They will email me and say, you said that, so and so said on your program that they did this at age 40, and I went out to their website and I checked it out, and wow, this is what I want to do. I can do this too. And it's like, we all can. The difference is what do we consider success? Okay. I have a friend who's been podcasting almost as long as I have been, and she's ready to give it up. And I said, why? She said, I don't have a lot of listeners. I said, when is a lot enough?
Right.
I said, what kind of feedback are you getting? How much do you enjoy doing this? I said, if I didn't enjoy doing it, I'd quit. I enjoy it. So if one person's listening, that's wonderful. If 10,000 people are listening, that's wonderful too.
Right.
I just want to help anyone see that there are opportunities and not just challenges.
That's cool. I'm surprised at men because we are very stubborn by nature, and even though like I said before, I've always considered myself a lifelong learner. As a young man, I can't see myself spending an hour or a half hour. I'm not sure how long you do it, but listening to old people tell me that what I need to do to avoid growing old and to grow old gracefully, or however you want to put it. I would just think, yeah, what do they know? And I would also think, and this has always been in the back of my mind, I'm not gonna live past 54 anyway. I'm gonna be dead by then. So what difference does it make? The James Dean thing: live hard and die young and leave a good looking corpse. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and it really is disappointing when when you figure that out.
But when I look at some of these so called rock stars from my earlier generation who are still performing today,
Mick Jagger and
and,
Keith Richards at 80
and
just put out a new
young
album.
people are going to their concerts.
Yeah,
So I think our young people today are different than I was at their age. At their age, if somebody was 35 years old, they were old. Okay. But young people today, I know one of the jobs I do IT training. And when these young kids come up to me, it's like, how did you get into this? When did you get into it? And when I tell them I was 45 years old when I got into IT,
right.
it's like, but why did you do it? And I said, because I had to know what I was using. I had to know how my computer worked. I had to know how the software worked. And
Right.
so I decided to learn it.
IT was not even a thing. It
Yeah,
wasn't a thing. It's hard to relate to that whole and all the changes we've seen in our lives as far as technology and all that
right.
stuff. But the career of an IT professional was not a thing in the 70s and 80s when we were pursuing careers, our first careers anyway. That's just interesting. Now, how is your podcast video and audio, or is it just
Yes,
audio?
it is.
It is video.
And we do one show that is a live feed. In fact, we do it every Tuesday afternoon at 3:30. It's called One in the World with Paul Seaburn. And Paul has been a comedy writer a good majority of his life. And he lives here in the Cleveland area. And he knocked on our studio door one day and he said, I'd like to do a show. And I said, come on board.
Wow.
And it's been great. He talks about strange and weird news. And we try not to get into the politics or anything like that.
Yeah. You said something there. Our studio. You built a studio, an actual
Well,
radio
we
type studio, television studio.
we did at the time, but I brought it all home because and I'm glad I did that before the pandemic,
Yeah.
because it just makes life so much easier.
I was talking to a friend the other day who spent 35 years in radio, and I said, "Listen, I know, you've been out of it for several years, but I know you got to be itching. You miss it. I know you do." And I have this live streaming radio station, Mind Dog Radio, on Live 365 and iHeartRadio. If you'd like to do a show on there, he said, "I've been approached to do shows. I don't want to leave my home anymore to do it." To drive all the way to, because some of the studios that have offered them are 60 miles away, commutes, and nobody wants to commute anymore. And I don't blame them. One of the things about COVID taught me is it's not worth it to sit in a car in traffic in New York traffic for an hour and a half to get someplace.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
Yeah. So that show, the live show, ends at 2:30 on Tuesdays.
3:30 Tuesdays Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, and the rest, the Avoid the Maze, that's once a week, or is it every
So,
day?
so yesterday I did two shows for Avoid the Maze, and so I only do my recordings now on Tuesdays and Wednesdays because I have taken on an IT job that is part time, but is for all the hospitals here in Cleveland, and I love it.
Good for
Um,
you.
it's my chance to get up and walk and do all the things that I also love to do.
Right. Before I let you go, I want to touch on that because I do a lot of work in nursing homes, assisted living centers, and it occurs to me that it's a very complicated issue, but I don't know when it started. I don't remember. My grandparents died in my parents' home, right? It was, and my mother died in my home. It was like, I don't want to ship somebody off like they're a problem, that they're too much of a burden for me. I remember, as dysfunctional as my family was, they took care of me when I was an infant, and I don't want to abandon them because oh wait, you're taking it back now. You
Right.
gave now, and it's time to give back. And no, I'm not. I want to just ship you off and make you somebody else's problem. My wife works in nursing homes. I was very complicated for me because I see that some people are a real handful, and not everybody has the medical expertise to take care of some of these people. But I also feel like, as a society, we're losing a, a, an important part of the connection to that part of aging and that part of life, because that's how you learn what's really important when you're taking care of somebody who's old and dying. What's your perspective on the nursing home economy that we've set up, that everybody who reaches a certain age, their kids will ship them off as a problem to be held taken care of in a factory?
So I will tell you, one of the other shows we do is called Care Notes, and I'm working with a home care facility here in Cleveland. This gentleman used to work for Procter and Gamble. He, when he decided to start this, he said, "I want to treat everybody as if they were my mother or father." And his home industry, people are blossoming. When family members called him initially and they said, "Well, we're thinking about putting ma or dad into a facility," he'd say, "Well, how active are they now? And maybe they have trouble getting in and out of a chair. Maybe we want to make sure that they take their medication, but they don't need help 24/7."
Right.
And so now they're feeling good about themselves again at 70, 80, and 90 years old. Um, I think nursing homes, there's a reason for them if somebody really needs skilled care. But if you don't need skilled care, why go lock yourself up in a building and see your friends on a regular basis pass away?
I think our
And
problem is that it's not the decision of the elderly at that point. It's the decision of the children of them, adult children, very adult children,
well,
people in their 40s and 50s.
from what I say to adult children, you're going to be your mother and father someday.
They
Do
don't
you
think
want
about that.
your kids?
I I hear you very loud and clear. And when I'm playing in these facilities, I see these people, and they're there. They spend. It always gives me a good feeling that they're there spending time, because some of the people are just left alone and haven't seen their families for a while, and
Right.
that's
Exactly.
really heartbreaking. It's why I do what I do. As a very young person, I started doing it. My grandfather was in a nursing home. He had brain cancer, and they were taking care of him. And as a way to pay back the people who were taking care of them, I started volunteering at like 16 years old and playing for him, and it became part of my life. And now it's something I can't give up. But it's always been near and dear to my heart, is the understanding that, I'm going to be that old too. If I make it to that old, I don't want to. This is not a dignified way to go out. And I think we lose sight of what the value of taking care of those people. It feels like a burden, but in reality, it was a burden we were meant to have. You talk about lifelong learning. It's a lesson that we were meant to learn, that we were reluctant to even go. Calling in like, I don't want to go to school today, I'm sick. It's that I don't
Yeah.
want to learn about being old. It's too uncomfortable for me. Let's just let's just have the state or Medicare or his retirement funds pay for it. It's a very sad situation.
Yes,
So,
it is. I
do you
agree.
do you talk about those kind of issues on your show?
We absolutely do. Um, and I think it's important because my grandfather came to live with us. Um, he lived with us for 2.5 years. And then he made the choice that he wanted to go to the senior home. He said he loved being around his grandchildren, he loved being around his daughter, but he felt like he was a burden, even though he was not. And when he went to the senior home, he had 3 more great years. He was everybody's friend, but he went in with a different mentality. And this is back in the 50s. He went back in and he just said, come on, you're not going to sit in that wheelchair. You can walk. And he got people up and walking. So for some people, it works.
Yeah,
But for
that
most of us, no.
that's why it's complicated, because there are some people who view it like going back to school, and they're happy to be there. It's like they become the king of the hill in that sense,
Right.
and why wouldn't you want that? Yeah, I was never the football captain or the popular guy in high school, but now I'm top of the king of the hill here, and everybody loves me.
I
And,
love it.
I'm James Dean in the nursing home. Anyway, it's been a pleasure to have you here. Now, podcast. Are you writing a book? You should write a book about all this stuff.
No, I have a website. I blog just about every single day. Um, and most of my blogs now are coming under my coaching heading because in April, I was down in Texas taking care of my son. He had emergency surgery. And he said to me, Mom, I know you love podcasting, but you have your certification for coaching. Why aren't you coaching? And I said, oh, there's so many other coaches out there. And he goes, but you'd be good at it.
Yeah.
And I started telling people, and my concept of coaching really is for people who are 45 and up, because they're starting to wonder at that point,
Yeah.
what's there for me? And
Yeah.
you know what? There's a lot out there for all of us.
Our perspective on what is old is changing all the time too. I remember thinking when I was, a teenager in 20s, that 40s was old. Then when I hit my 40s, that was the best decade of my life. Looking back, and looking back can be a dangerous thing because you get too nostalgic and then you start to feel old. But I never thought my 40s would be that active. The band I play with now, I started when I turned 40. And to me, it was like a new lease on life. It was like starting over again and finding reconnecting with the passion I had in my 20s. And it was a tremendous thing. But so I don't think 40s is old anymore. And we look at people now, they talk all the time. They use these cliches. 30 is the new 20, whatever. 50 is the new 40. However, it's mindset. Mindset has a lot to do with it, of course. But there is the reality of the physical stuff that gets to you. And for me, it's a tough thing to maintain that attitude of youth. And so I appreciate what you're doing, and I hope you're
Oh,
helping
thank
with
you.
that. I don't like. I have to tell you, I don't like the semantics of coach. I think we have to, because there's too many life coach. I've interviewed so many life coaches and all these things. Like, what makes you an expert in life? Because a coach, while they might not be the superstar that's going to the Hall of Fame in sports, they're a person who's an expert in sports. I'm using that coaching analogy. They're an expert in the sport. Well, I'm going to take a life coach from somebody. I want them to be an expert in life. And where's your qualification in that?
So the best coaches out there, when they're coaching regarding something that they have lived through and they're passionate about. Okay. I've turned a lot of people away and referred them to other coaches because it's not my area of expertise. I understand parents who are working with a child who may have a disability. Okay. Like I said, my youngest son is on the autism spectrum, but he's at the high end of the spectrum. But for many years, they were treating him like he was at the low end. And
Right.
so I knew what that meant. I knew that my life was not mine, it was his life.
Right.
And so many people just don't get that.
Yeah.
So I can help coach people in that area. But again, people who are facing, their 50s and 60s and saying, there can't be anything else for me. Well, maybe you're not going to be a podcaster like myself. Maybe you're not going to be a coach. Maybe you're not going to go out and do IT work. But what is it you would really like to do?
Right. Yeah, I get it.
Start with 10 minutes a day doing it, and then
There you
keep
go.
growing it.
Well, cool. I wish you great success with your podcast and all the stuff you do. If you could send that comedy writer guy my way, I would love to talk to him.
Okay, I certainly will. Thank you so much.
It's been a
It
pleasure.
was
Come
great.
back sometime. Thank you. Bye for now. Bye. Karen Hale, folks. We're going to take a short break for our sponsors, and then we'll recap. We'll talk about this. We'll bring Willie back in, and we'll discuss his thoughts on getting old. True Fire is our sponsor today. Speaking of old, at any age you can learn to play guitar, and you don't even have to leave your home. True Fire you can learn right online at home at your own convenience. Learn from some of the best players in the business and some guitar coaches. How about that? Guitar coach or guitar teacher or just a guitar player. I'm a slinger. All right, True Fire, check it out.
Over 2 million guitar players worldwide learn, practice, and play with TrueFire. Our learning tools and massive library of video lessons will ignite your technical skills, harmonic knowledge, rhythm playing, and soloing chops. TrueFire's educators are the best in the biz, from Grammy Award winners to world-renowned artists. You'll have access to an unparalleled faculty of over 300 top-notch blues, rock, jazz, country, fingerstyle, and acoustic guitar educators. Using our desktop and mobile apps, you'll work with TrueFire's multi-angle video lessons on any device, anytime, anywhere. Integrated learning tools such as video synced tab and notation, slow-mo, looping, practice jam tracks, and many more handy controls accelerate your learning experience. TrueFire style-specific learning paths guide you every step of the way. Use our assessment tools to find your starting point, then follow our lesson recommendations and track your progress as you work through your personalized TrueFire study plan. Progress faster with private one-on-one instruction, group lessons, multi-track video jams, live streams, song lessons.
Hey, what happened? I didn't turn that off, did I? Or did you turn that off? Did you turning off my commercials, you bastard? Did you? I think you muted yourself, dude. I can't unmute you. You're muted? No, you're not muted. Yeah.
No, it wasn't playing.
It was you. You did it.
I
fired.
I was trying to make it play.
Oh, no. Oh. Well, don't.
Was it playing?
It was playing on my end.
It was. Oh, yeah. Okay. So my thing was blank and it said the browser wasn't playing the thing. So I went into because I knew it would be under brand, and so I was trying to play it again.
That mother.
But I guess it just wasn't playing for me. I'm so sorry about that.
That's all right. TrueFire, we got the message anyway. You want to learn to play guitar? Get on TrueFire.com and invite musicality. That's what we got. Anyway,
I'm so sorry. I was trying to be helpful.
Oh well, that's we hate helpful people.
This is usually how it goes when I'm trying to be helpful with my wife too.
Yeah,
it's usually some sort of disaster.
See, ageism bastard known as G.D. Fenderson, certified forensic humorist, says fossil is the new cougar. I think that's quite rude, but funny. Fossil is the new. So, what are your takes on the aging thing? Are you thinking about getting old? Are you?
I mean, I'm like you. I'm already older than I ever thought I'd be. Like, because when I was a teenager, I didn't think I'd live to see 21, and I almost didn't, for a number of different reasons. Um, so, and here's the trouble. Here's the trouble when you're a youth and you say things to yourself like, oh, I'm probably not going to live to see 21. You don't plan for the future, and so that was like a lot of the trouble that I had in my early 20s, is that I didn't spend any of my teens really planning anything, and so my 20s were just kind of on a whim,
Right.
and
Mickey
so
Mantle
now,
said, if I knew I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself.
right, like man, I don't think I'd have done half the stuff I did, because boy howdy, like even working out, dude, like the the pain that I have like in my lower back and like my like my lower abdominal, like I have some like real core issues. You
Me
know what
too.
I mean? And
Yes.
like that's why I've been trying to do the planking and stuff like that to like really get my core back, because but I also had some injuries too, that like I fell like 20 years ago and hurt my back really bad, and it's went out a couple times since then. So when you have stuff like that, like because I actually enjoy working out a lot, like lifting and stuff like that, but like I can't go heavy anymore, so now I just I do light stuff and I do higher reps, but I wish I could go heavier and get bulkier, but I'm too afraid
You know,
to lift heavy weight because I don't want to hurt myself again.
I didn't want to, and I'm sure if you probably noticed, I kind of was tempted to, but I didn't want to go to the ass eating conversation with with Karen.
Yeah, I'm
Because
glad you didn't. I think it would have been a little much for her, which
that's
is
what I'm
fine
not
because
sure, because she says she relates to people at all ages and all, and she wants to have those conversations.
yeah, I can tell. I can see you itching for it. I was just like, oh, is he gonna? Is he gonna? And you're like, nah, I better not. You're like, it was
But
great.
this,
It was fun to watch from my perspective, to be
well,
honest with you.
this is a major conundrum for me because I started to say before, I'm really optimistic about the future of the show. Yesterday, I heard from several very big name comedians. A couple of them are ladies, and those ladies, I know both of them do lots of jokes about anal sex. And I also know that the audience isn't always kids; it isn't always young people. Sometimes it's people my age. And I know, listen, it's not just me. If I go to like if I'm on a gig and and this happened at a party that I played on 4th of July at a huge table full of people my age, and I started doing some ass eating humor. And they were just grossed out by it. Like people my age are not ready, even if they might like it, secretly like it. They don't want to talk about it, and they don't want to. I don't even know that they secretly like it though. I think it's a turn off to most people my age. But so as a comedian, if you're doing like ass eating jokes or anal sex jokes, and the crowd is my age, I could see that being like, oh, that's not what I paid for. I'm not coming. We have to leave right now, Herbert. Grab my
Right,
bag.
right, yeah,
So,
I can see that happening.
yeah. So those kinds of things. I think we are changing as a society from being what we can joke about and talk about even and have conversations about to people her age and my age who just can't handle those conversations. And you just proved it that you were assuming that she can't handle that conversation.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I would say by and large, most of society, like especially when it comes to acid,
So
they don't want to hear it. Like, and
if I asked her if she ever did reverse cowgirl, you think she would have left outraged and never come back to the show?
I mean, no, because that has nothing to do with ass eating. Reverse, I mean, that might be okay.
I mean, whatever. I mean, just those.
Okay, so I don't
By
know.
the
I don't
way, so
know.
you say
And
you
I mean, we
consider
have to
yourself
be.
17. You say you feel 17. Have you ever done reverse cowgirl? What do you think she would have said?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like that would have been a legitimate, reasonable question. But
let's get him back.
I'm a
Hold on, let me
fucked
get
up
him back.
individual. Okay, you can't like I listen. You can. I love you, Matt, and I will be pretty much whatever you want me to be for this show, bro. But I cannot be the voice of reason because like my standard of morality, it's shoddy. It's shoddy sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, speaking of G.D. Fenderson, now I wanted to bring this up to you because he's going to be doing yesterday, as I mentioned. I put it out there. If anybody wants to do a show, he asked if he could do a show on Sunday here. The Reverend Jelly Roll, which is a character he's been doing as part of his show for quite a while. But I'm kind of thinking, because I didn't know about Jelly Roll, maybe he doesn't know about Jelly Roll either. But I'm kind of thinking it's going to attract Jelly Roll fans. And they might be a little upset that this isn't Jelly Roll, this Reverend Jelly Roll type of thing. What are your thoughts on that? The Reverend Jelly Roll. I haven't seen the character, to be honest with you.
yeah, no, I mean, without seeing the character, I have no idea. Like, I can't really speculate what the fans would think or say without knowing what the character is.
Yeah.
But I mean, Jelly Roll, man, listen, going to a Jelly Roll concert is a lot like going to church, bro. It's church for the broken. It's church for people that don't like fucking steeples, because it's a night of hope. It's a night of, we're gonna, we can get past this. There's another day. There's another, it's a hope shot, 100% to go to a Jelly Roll concert. And so, like, to especially a Reverend Jelly Roll, I could definitely easily see misconceptions happening for sure.
Now, before we go to the news, I'm sure you're aware of the football game last night.
Yes, it's in here. I have it in the news.
All right. I do have an image that Aaron Rodgers had sent to me just now. He's watching the show, and he's watching from home. Here's this image. You see, he's watching the show with his ankle all wrapped. I guess that's not funny. I thought that was funny. Anyway.
Oh my God, don't get out of here.
Anyway. Yeah. We'll bring in, let me play the news thing, and then it's time for the news, and then I will. You know what I noticed in editing yesterday? You couldn't hear me laughing in the background. I didn't have my mic muted, but I was laughing hard throughout your whole thing. But
okay, good. Yeah, I didn't know. I couldn't hear you, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, for some reason it didn't come through. I don't know why that is. We're going to see if we can rectify that. And you can't say rectify without recta. I don't know.
Right.
It's time for the news, ladies and gentlemen. Here now is Walter Willie Cronkite.
Good morning. SciTech Daily reports that physicists at the University of Warsaw have turned Schrodinger's cat on its head with fractional Fourier transformation. Now, I'm no physicist, so I have no idea what I just said, but I sure hope the cat's okay. Comedian Amy Schumer isn't getting the attention she was hoping for. The Trainwreck star took to Instagram to mock Nicole Kidman's alien-like behavior at the U.S. Open this past weekend. Fans of the actress fired back at Schumer's comments and let her know that her bullying ways weren't appreciated. I, for one, wasn't surprised. I expect nothing less from a frat boy with a vagina. With just over 11 minutes left in the first quarter, New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers took a 10-yard sack that took him out of the game. Just 4 snaps in to the game, the 4-time MVP suffered an ankle injury that is speculated to be his Achilles. The Jets did go on to beat the Buffalo Bills 22-16. Backup quarterback Zach Wilson, the former BYU standout, was the second pick of 2021, and he had 14 completions on 21 attempts for 140 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, which means he is not the answer for the Aaron Rodgers hole in your fantasy team.
Whoa, wait. Whoa. All right, go ahead. We'll talk about that. Go ahead. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm being rude.
All right. Yeah. Yahoo News reports that the Kremlin did confirm North Korea dictator Kim Jong-un will be traveling to Russia to meet with President Putin in the coming days. There's
there.
no official itinerary announced, but I'm sure that there will be some chest licking, some nipple twisting, and a spirited round of circle jerk on a Napoleon cake that will take place. They're going to use a Napoleon cake for the circle jerk so that everyone can have a piece, because nothing says you don't value life like having your Napoleon cake and eating dead babies too.
Wow.
That's the news.
That's fucking brutal. Anyway, let me put myself. I can't put myself back in here. I'm gone. You know what? I don't know, sir. I like
now
myself.
we gotta.
I'm looking at myself on the right. I don't know. Yeah, there you go. That's better. Anyway, wow. So you don't think Zach Wilson is Zach?
Okay, so I don't know if you know about like fantasy points or whatever, but like as far as like what those stats are for fantasy, like that's garbage fantasy.
14 out of 21 with 1 interception and 1 touchdown. That's not a bad game. 1 interception is a blemish, but the rest.
Yeah, but just 140 on the yards. I mean, most fantasy leagues are probably giving you like 1 point every 20 yards.
But
you know what I mean?
All right, I hear what you say, but can you judge? Doesn't
it's one game. It's one game.
Doesn't Buffalo have a really good defense, or am I wrong about that?
Right? Yeah. No. For one, let's be clear. This is comedy. You know what I mean? So like, I'm being a dick, but it's just to be jovial. It's one game. You certainly can't judge a player, and from the sounds of things, he's definitely going to be starting in week 2 because Aaron looks like probably surgery is going to be necessary if he even ever plays again, because an Achilles injury at this age, I mean, that could be definitely career ending. So, thoughts and prayers to Aaron Rodgers, like for as much as, I might, give Packer backers shit and stuff like that. I mean, it's still a person. He's still injured. It's still his livelihood, but these are just jokes, folks.
Yeah, no, I get it. I definitely get that it's just jokes, but I was thinking that this is, it's a destiny moment for this kid.
It certainly could be.
When he was drafted, and then they got Aaron Rodgers, he probably like,
right.
My, and then it's like a heaven can wait moment where the guy dies on,
and they got the W. So I mean, come on.
Yeah. And that 1 touchdown was in overtime, right? Or do I have that wrong?
It might have been. You know what? I can't remember.
I scored a touchdown in overtime, but I don't know if it was by pass or by whatever. But yeah, so that's kind of a hopeful story for me, that this kid might have like a Cinderella type season, and then I could just, not that I'm not like a Jet fan, or I'm not. I've been a Giant fan when I was a football fan, but I would love to see that especially the Jets have become what the Red Sox were, what the Cubs were before they, at a time, perennial losers. Like when the Rangers had a 54-year losing streak of not getting to the Stanley Cup. It's kind of a romantic thing. So I hope big things happen for this kid.
I'll tell you what the Jets need more than anything. The Jets need to sell to Gary V. Because if Gary V owns the New York Jets like he wants to, this is a very rich guy who loves the team, wants nothing more than to own that team, and I believe would do anything to make that a championship team. If you want to make the New York Jets Super Bowl champions, sell them to Gary V. That's my take.
All right. I'm getting chastised by Ian not to heckle you. I feel bad now. I feel bad. I don't feel like I was heckling. I thought I was just I being a pain in the ass. All right, whatever.
I didn't feel heckled by you. You're
So
fine.
yeah, Putin and Kim Jong Un.
Yeah, did you like it? I was super proud of, like, when I wrote that joke, I was like, this is fucking beautiful. Like, I'm like, this is one of the funniest things I've ever fucking written. Like,
But who's the top? Is Putin the top? I mean, in that
actually, so the
homoerotic
circle
game,
jerk, I imagine for the circle jerk, I imagine Kim Jong-un, I imagine President Putin and both their security teams. You know what I mean? Like, just like 12, 14 motherfuckers just going, tossing around this fucking Napoleon cake. And, you know,
da. That's all I can say. Da.
yeah, I'm sorry. I'm fucking, there's something wrong with me. I need
No, we know that.
professional help.
Obviously, you're here. That's proof enough that there's something wrong with you. G.D. Fenderson, Jet Rogers, why? Oh, is like repeating the same comment again. I think he might be having a Mitch McConnell moment there, GD. Anyway, so yeah, that was good news. You know, I forgot what yesterday I was reviewing your news thing. Now the guy, the prisoner who escaped, and it took somebody else.
Still on the loose, by the way. I checked this morning.
Right. The fact that he is, I don't know. This is going to be racist. I know it is, and I hate myself for thinking this. But you mentioned I didn't know he was from South America, wherever he's from.
He's Brazilian, yeah.
Brazilian, yeah. 5 foot tall, right? So, and I'm thinking it's just that's a racial thing. I mean that is a lot of people from South America, Guatemala, and Mexico
are smaller in stature.
Yeah,
you mean?
yeah, so that's probably why he's avoiding the cop, because they're treating him like they're calling in the National Guard for this guy, and they're afraid of him. Well, first of all,
well, I mean, listen, I mean, the dude's been on the loose for almost 2 weeks now. He killed his ex-girlfriend. He's wanted for murder in Brazil. Now I didn't report on it this morning, but they are sure that he is armed at this point. But so, I mean, they need to find the dude because he is a threat. I mean, I'm sure if I lived in that area, there's no way that if I lived in that area, you know, as a regular citizen, if I, I suppose if I had my own home defense or whatever, I wouldn't mind staying or whatever. But because you got to understand that this dude is on the run. He's desperate. He's murdered before, obviously. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. No regard for life, right?
It's a threat for sure. And the fact that he's evaded police for so long already, I mean, that's why, in my opinion, I think it is right to call in the National Guard. You need to fucking find this guy. You need to do it right now. They'll probably come in with some thermal shit or whatever. You know,
what's wrong with their local police that they? But again, I understand this guy's small. He could probably hide pretty easily, especially in the woods. Just. You're that small. It's easy to kind of conceal yourself or just dive behind a rock or a tree or something.
I mean, I'm only speculating, but I imagine that police, this county or whatever, they don't deal with this sort of thing all that often.
They got a prison
listen,
right there.
Okay. But
hold on.
They had an escape
all that often, but they didn't because that guy got out through somebody else.
Right, but this is part of this. It's actually, I'm going to roll that into the same thing. So the fact that they had an inmate escape on May 19th from this same facility, and the fact that this dude used the same exact route to escape from the exercise yard of that facility. Okay, they obviously are inept. They are functioning not knowing what the fuck they're doing, because listen, believe me, my prison yard had fucking places where an able-bodied person that knew how to crab walk up walls could do it for sure. You want to know what was in the middle of every one of those fucking sections? A whole big fucking line of fucking barbed wire that you couldn't, you know what I mean? Like, what is this? So obviously the sheriff's department in this county You know, they don't got all their fucking dogs barking. So yeah, let's get the National Guard, fucking find this guy, you know, and maybe find a few new fucking deputies for your sheriff's department that know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, thermal imaging. He could show up as a dog. I mean, he's for a
I mean, that
man.
is true. No, that's true too. I mean, yeah, because that could be not as helpful as I thought. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that man is so small. I
No,
mean,
you're right. Because my dog's probably would probably give off about the same thermal
right.
signature. Because I
Because
got a Great Pyrenees. That's a
I
big
know
ass dog.
women. I know women who are like. I had a girlfriend who was 4'11", and she had a daughter, a full-grown daughter, 21-year-old daughter, who was 4'8". And that's small for a woman, but this guy's not much bigger than that, and that is so petite and small. I mean, this
Right.
guy weighs 100 pounds. That's a very small human being,
Yeah.
and that's I think I could probably stay undetected if I really tried to. But he's been breaking into houses and stuff. It's a really crazy story, but it
It
seemed to
really is.
happen in
Yeah. No, he's been going in
Pennsylvania.
and out of houses. And I think that's part of what's the most concerning for the average citizen is he's been nonchalantly going in and out of homes.
Right. Wow. Well, I hope they get him soon. I hope he doesn't hurt anybody. I mean, I know we joke about it and all, but we definitely hope nobody gets hurt in this. But it is
Right.
an interesting story. I'm not saying I want it to end anytime soon because we can keep talking about it as it goes on. It would be good, like if we're still talking about this a month from now, and the guy's still not left the area, like he's not smart enough to get the fuck out of the area, but he's still smart enough to elude these fucking yokel cops.
I mean, you would almost think, I mean, why is he staying in the area too? You know
That's
what I
it.
mean?
He's stupid. He's as stupid as the cops. Everybody in this thing is stupid.
I mean, I originally when I first started when I first did the story on this, I wanted to do it almost like he was in search of a one-armed man to clear his name. I was gonna do a fugitive thing about it, but then I didn't want to be. But then I read more into the story, and he's like also wanted for murder in Brazil. I was like, that's probably not the direction to go with this. Like,
Yeah. Bean, if you're still there in the audience, Miss Bean, Orson Bean, Bean from
President Bean.
President Bean, you need to put some pressure on your friend Kat. Now I know she's going away this week to Bisbee, Arizona. She's going to Arizona and then to Bisbee to the shows down at the Shady Dell. But we need to get her pressure her to come on the show to promote her cover song thing that she does on YouTube. Today she's out with Smokey Robinson classic. You Really Got a Hold on Me. The Beatles also covered that. So, lots of people covered it. Great song. We need to get Kat back on the program. Get her up early. Obviously, she's up early enough to post this stuff on YouTube and Twitter. She could be up early enough just to come on here for a few minutes. Bean, as a president, this is part of your responsibility. I'll just keep adding things on there till all that stuff. Now,
I have to say, Kelly is one of the best people in the world. She is, she's got a lot of great positive energy, very encouraging all the time. And dude, she reposts the stuff that I post so much, and it's a real big help to me.
well,
Because
yesterday
to be honest,
she sent me you were live on Star Maker. And
yeah,
I tried several ways. Apple is not friendly with this. I got to join. I got to download an app. This is why the fallback of that platform is I don't want to get any
right.
new software on my machine. I just want to watch this fucking thing.
Right. And that's the only thing, that is the one thing about Star Maker that really gets me is like you have to download the app in order to watch my lives.
Right.
But I'm trying to get to 5,000 followers on there. I think I'm at like around 3. I'm somewhere around 3,000 followers on the Star Maker app.
Wow, very good.
And that's worldwide. I mean, there's actually a lot of there's a big Asian presence on the Star Maker app, which probably isn't that surprising. Asians do love their karaoke. Like,
yeah. I don't know if I ever told you about this, but the poster back there, that's Hank Porter on the poster. Hank Porter, when I was 40, I decided I was going to do this parody of an old country western side, and I grew my beard white. I grew my beard out and I painted it white with latex house paint, and I painted my hair white with latex house paint. Dressed up as a full cowboy and went out and did this 83. I was supposed to be 83 years old, Hank Porter, and I was doing those shows, and recording a lot of the stuff. It was Hank Porter and the Lonesome Cowboys. I put out an album, and it did 5 million downloads in the first 2 months in Japan and China through the service Bada Ding, which was like the Asian equivalent of Napster at the time. And so Hank Porter was huge in Japan and China, and I was thinking about going over there and, like, doing the act for real for those people to be felt like a real country rock star.
Right.
Getting off the plane, Hank Porter's on. But yeah, for some reason, I don't know. The Asians dig Western music. I don't know. Go figure. So yeah, that's a cool thing. But now you got 3,000 followers on there. I don't want to ruin that, but I was going to say maybe you should start using this platform to do some live stuff, because you don't need anything special to log in. But you don't have the music ready for you, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, and I don't, and I can't adjust my vocals at all or anything like that.
Right.
Like, not that I need a whole lot, but there's just I just use the on that Star Maker app, there's like a bunch of different like standard adjustments you can do. You can do some custom ones where you can fluctuate it yourself, but then there's just some standard ones you can use. And I generally just use the studio one, which, I'm sure is whatever.
Well, we got to put in a request to them. I don't even know if they take requests, but some of them do, to kind of make it easier, more user friendly, more easy to people get on without having to download all the software and all that kind of stuff to make it work for you, and share those. And are they shareable? Can you download the videos for yourself?
So yeah, if I can't do, not the lives, the big lives, I can't record those, but like any cover that I record, as long as I record it in video format, I can upload that to my YouTube channel. And I do have a number of covers on my YouTube channel. I need to get A Boy Named Sue on there. I sang A Boy Named Sue yesterday. I also sang it the last time I did a live, but I haven't done a video to post to my YouTube yet. I could do that today. I have some time.
Oh boy, A Boy Named Sue. I've so moved on from that. What did I do Sunday? I did a Johnny Cash song, and nobody even recognized that it was these kids today. And they weren't kids. They were people who were definitely not kids, 40s or older. Don't know that music, and that really upset me. Like, I got to stop doing. I did Waylon Jennings. I did some Merle Haggard. They don't know any of that fucking stuff. I did.
Right.
What did I do? A Ray Price song.
I mean, I don't even know if I would recognize a Ray Price song, though.
Ray Price, For the Good Times. Lay your head upon my pillow. For the Good Times. Lay your head upon my pillow. Hold your warm and tender body close to mine. Ray Price, it was a #1 song in 1969. Anyway, Chris Christopherson wrote it. Now, here's the thing with that song. Chris Christopherson wrote, he had top 4 songs on the top 10 or #1 songs in the country at the same time on 4 different charts: country, pop, rock, and gospel.
Did he really?
Yeah. Janis Joplin.
I did not know that.
Janis Joplin, me and Bobby McGee on the rock charts. Help Me Make It Through the Night on the pop charts. For the Good Times on the country charts. And Why Me on the gospel charts.
Chris Christopher, he is quite the.
I don't think
really
that.
talented.
I don't think that will ever be reproduced. We'll get the same writer has top 10 or #1 songs on 4 different charts at the same time. That's incredible work. Anyway, what I want to talk to you about today was something in the news that this is going to be a big news story, and I'm not sure if people give a fuck. I'm not sure if I give a fuck. Google is going to court today. They're being sued by the United States government for a monopoly. and I'm wondering how it really affects our daily lives, and does anybody care? But the United States, against Google, our tax dollars, we're putting billions of dollars to fight a corporation that has billions of dollars in a lawsuit. It shouldn't matter to us. What it's
What are we
about,
saying? What is, excuse me, I shouldn't say we because I don't want to class
what,
myself in with the fucking government. What
right,
is the government trying to say that Google has a monopoly on?
on search engine
That's
stuff,
fucking stupid as hell. There's
right,
so many different search engines out there that are, listen, just because nobody fucking uses them, they're still out there. They're still available to be used. They
right.
don't
But
stop
what
their
happens is,
competitors.
yeah, but Google is stacking the deck by paying Apple to make a Google Chrome their default, or Google search engine their default, no matter what browser you use on the machine. They're paying Microsoft to do the same, so that when you buy a new machine and you pull something up, even on your iPhone, if you pull up a search, it's going to automatically go to Google, and does that affect your life? Does it really hurt you, us, the people? Because they're saying they're doing this for us, we the people. Does it
Right.
real? Does it hurt you in any way that Google is doing that?
No, I don't think so.
I
And
don't think so either.
because if I want to use a different search engine, I fucking go to it. I
Right?
just go to a different search engine because
Yeah.
sometimes I don't think Google's my best answer.
Well, that's good. I don't. I can honestly say I'm too lazy to even consider. It never crosses my mind to actually. I look at the Google results, and generally I pick one out in the first couple of seconds, and that's the one I say. But
Right.
trying to figure out how that hurts us, and we talk about tech giants all the time. We're on one right now, YouTube, which is Google, and I think I don't want Google hurt that much that it affects YouTube in a negative way, where whether it hurts the company to the point where YouTube becomes affected in a way that I don't, become, whether they start limiting, how much you can go live, how much content you can put there, any of that kind of stuff. I don't want to see Google broken. They're my,
Yeah.
they're my lifeblood.
I mean,
Granted,
I'm confident. I'm pretty confident that I don't. I think the government would have a very difficult time because listen, as far as when you think about what a monopoly is and like what dictates a monopoly, listen, I don't think the government's case is going to hold a shit bit of water because there are in fact many other options. Is Google the easiest choice, and have they made themselves the easiest choice? Sure, but I would say by and large, so did fucking McDonald's. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
McDonald's has been on top of the fucking shit for how fucking long because and it wasn't, there's other choices out there, but like, or you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
I definitely do.
I don't if the government's trying to go after, I think they're definitely taking the wrong angle because it's not a monopoly. You can't have a monopoly with fucking 6 other choices out there.
See, now Ian's going to want me to heckle you because Ian says it's a monopoly and they use monopoly taxes. I think it is a monopoly, but I'm not sure it's one that really hurts us in a
Right.
really significant way. Now, I'm willing to be educated on this, but I think the problem for me is I lose either way. If Google is hurt enough that it affects their business, I rely on Google Docs, Google Apps, Google all the Google apps. Rely on them so much that if their business is broken, I know that will definitely affect my life, and I'll have to find other solutions. By the same token, if the United States wastes all my money, billions and billions of dollars, they're just going to tax me more to make up for it, and I'll lose
Yeah.
that way. So, as the consumer, the little guy, I'm getting fucked no matter what. Whoever wins this suit, I lose.
Right.
You lose again.
GD said that remember when Microsoft was sued by the government for having a monopoly. What happened in that case? Do you
Well,
remember the result?
yeah. Well, no, that actually that helped save Apple, and because at the time Apple was about to go under, and Bill Gates, to try to stave off that monopoly lawsuit, provided $100 million of funding for Apple to restart at that time. But I think that was a significant. Although Windows is still on every PC that you can buy, nobody buys it with Linux on it or another operating system.
I didn't think about this lawsuit really being the government trying to put the squeeze on Google to get a few million out of them for some type of, okay, well, you guys can keep doing what you're doing, but you're going to have to pay the government X amount of money. That's probably what it is.
Not a few million.
That's actually probably what's happening.
Hundreds of billions, not just a few millions. It's
right.
Big, it's a super.
Right.
And nobody's talking about it. It's not. I think it's going to affect us no matter. Again, I think we lose. I lose. No matter what. And it's not something that anybody is talking about in the news. There's all sorts of Aaron Rodgers, there's Trump and Biden and 9/11 and all that kind of crap, which I got in trouble yesterday for saying we don't need to keep reliving this trauma. People just want to keep bringing this up and like going through. Let's watch the buildings get crashed into again. Wasn't it traumatic enough the first 21 times? Do we need to keep doing this every year? Like, I know.
It makes me. I get sad when I watch it. Like it literally makes me sad to watch it, bro. Like,
and then the conspiracy theories come back every year with it.
Right.
What do you?
It gets me thinking about, like, listen, my wife, man. I love my wife so much. She works so hard to try and make sure that I don't get like stuck thinking about stuff like that, because listen, dude, I'm telling you, I thank God that I have people in my life that want to keep me level-headed and not thinking about stupid conspiracy theories. And
the problem is I feel like I need to get involved every time I see people just doing this, talking crazy shit. I feel like it's my problem, and I need to fix this. Like, people talking stupid shit, and it's not my problem. It's not my place to fix this. It's not my place to kind of put people in their place. But that's what the illusion that it causes within my thinking, and I know it's unhealthy, and it makes me angry enough that I start ranting about it in public on Twitter or Facebook or something.
Right.
And like, I'm making enemies of people. Well, I should just shut the fuck up and mind
my
own business. Deal with my own fucking problem.
That's exactly how my wife feels about it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like she just doesn't want to see me like get worked up and say something I shouldn't really say, or but mostly what works me up, bro, is the not knowing the truth. You know what I mean? I get so upset about the countless lies of the American government and how they conduct themselves. Like, the government is like the US government for the is, if you fucktards that are in charge think that what you're doing is what our forefathers envisioned for us, go fuck yourselves. You know what I mean? If you think that this is what freedom was supposed to be, you're an asshole.
Yeah. Well, I think that shit gets used too much. What our forefathers envisioned. They lived in a different whole world than we did completely.
Well, they envisioned that we would be smart enough to change shit as needed, which we haven't really done well.
Well, that's their bad then, because I never assumed that, as you saw me say the other day, young people ruin everything. I'm not going to assume that people 100 years from now, 200 years from now, are going to be any smarter than we are. They might have technological advancements, scientific advancements, but when it comes down to human nature-wise, they're just going to be as dumb fucks as we always were. Human nature to be a dumb fuck.
Or worse off, have you seen Idiocracy? I think we're headed that way.
I think we've been in that since 2000. I definitely do. I mean,
okay, we're getting there, bro.
I think my friend Debo, who is the late Debo, was in that movie. I think he played the president, if I'm not wrong in that.
Yeah.
He said I was a righteous white dude. He called me a righteous white dude. That was a good thing.
That's nice. That's nice.
Anyway, McDonald's, as you mentioned, is we brought up them as a monopoly. They are planning to do away with self-service beverages because too many fat fucks are taking advantage and like buying one Coke and just refilling all fucking day long, and even just like coming back to the restaurant, slipping back in the door, they still have the cup and just walking over to the machine.
Oh
And
yeah.
and how much
I mean,
that
I've done that, to be honest. I mean, I've totally taken the McDonald's cup from my car into McDonald's and just gotten a Coke and left.
right.
100% that's happened at least 10 times.
Right. So now they're going to do away with that. So you have to go and buy in a second Coke at the counter and that kind of stuff. No free refills anymore. Doing away with the self-service service beverage stuff.
I mean, I'll
As if they don't
still
make enough
do
money.
it because it's still the best Coke out there. I love McDonald's Coke. It is different Coke. You know that, right? They make Coke specially for McDonald's. Like it comes in a different canister. That's why it tastes different.
I don't drink soda anymore, but when I did, occasionally I will still fall back and slide off the wagon. But there was a point in my life where I was a Coke connoisseur. I went in, the first thing I wanted to know in any place we played was how the Coke. Let me taste your Coke, and it is different in every different place you go. Whether it's it's different. It's not the same. It's not a uniform product. I don't like that.
Right.
So anyway, I keep interrupting you. You were saying and I probably don't even remember what the hell you changing subjects on me, but Putin wants his hitman back. He's got we have a guy in prison here who was Putin's hitman, and he wants him back, and he's looking to bargain for him to get him back, get him out of jail. I thought.
Oh well, WNBA stars better not go to fucking Russia then. Fucking Christ.
Oh, that was a whole other thing. That Brittany, what was her name? Brittany something.
Grainer or something.
Yeah,
Griner, something like that. That's fucking.
Yeah, no. My opinion on that is anybody who's stupid enough to go to a place where you're risking stuff, and you bring drugs over there.
Yeah,
marijuana is, and you know what? You were stupid enough to do that. It ain't the United States place to fucking bail you out.
No, yeah, listen, there was that was that was a political move all fucking day. It was completely out of place, and people that defend it are the worst kind of woke ass hat you can be, in my opinion.
Right. G-Deep just brought up a good point. I'll read it again because I don't want to paraphrase. Hello?
Sorry, yeah, that's fluffy. I'm sorry.
No, we need to get some sound effects like that. I definitely want to implement that. I want to get a producer to sit in the back, and I'm gonna, every time I say a sound, like if I say what time it is, it's 10:15 in Eastern right here. They need to play the dog bark, just to know that you. If the government told 100% truth, how would you know? And would you believe them? This is at play with this whole fucking UFO hearings and stuff.
This is the worst part about it. That's the saddest part about where the American people are at with the U.S. government, because I definitely know that I'm far from alone in this. The U.S. government has gaslit the American people so fucking long about so many different things. We don't know when you're telling the truth anymore. It's impossible for us to trust you in a real sense.
So if
absolutely impossible.
Well, we'll see if it's impossible, right? And now maybe this isn't the best way to see if it's impossible. If they came out and said the CIA killed John Kennedy, was involved in a conspiracy on purpose to keep our activity in Vietnam going and to escalate it. That was our purpose. We didn't want to let you know because we thought we were doing the right thing, saving America from communism, and we were serious that in our belief that Kennedy was doing the wrong thing by wanting to get out of Vietnam, and so we killed him. If they came out and said that, would you believe them?
I mean,
I think I would. I think I would believe it because it makes sense. And what would they have to gain by saying that if it weren't true?
Sure. I mean, but that's okay. The only way that you can be believable is to be self-incriminating. You know what I mean? Like the only way to gain our trust back is to fucking tell on yourself for the worst
I'm not
fucking
saying it would
answer
gain our trust
possible.
back, but it would definitely let us know that they've told us the truth about one thing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, great. Yeah, you know, and that's kind of how you'd feel. Oh, great. Well, thank you for telling me the truth. Fucking 60 years fucking later, you know, like, you know, it's just
It's not that's not as infuriating as both Biden and Trump have done this. Refused to release the full documents that were supposedly by law the truth was supposed to be revealed to us by law, and they said no, we can't. You know, we need to keep this stuff confidential and classified.
I mean, listen, there's not. I would say the number of defendable politicians in this country, you could probably count them on two hands.
Oh, by the way, I'm running for Congress. I'm running for Congress. I just want to remind people that I'm running for Congress in the 3rd district of.
Right. So I mean, dude, like it's so far gone, bro, that like I think that we need, you know, and I don't know in what fashion this needs to happen, but there needs to be a collective fucking gathering where we figure out a new fucking direction, because the entire legislative branch is a fucking joke. Our presidency is a fucking joke. You know what I mean? Our judicial system is a fucking joke. If we know all of these things to be true, then when the fuck are we going to change it?
We're not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it has. If we know for sure that this shit ain't working, damn it, they gave us the fucking ability to change it.
Well, tomorrow we're gonna have a chance to talk to a guy who has been deep in the doodle about the Clinton administration and Ken Starr's vendetta to get him on anything and anything for his entire presidency and dealing with the Secret Service. So, you know, maybe he'll have some different insights on.
Yeah, that'll be a great. I'll be very interested to listen to that for sure.
Here's an amusing little anecdote for you, because as I mentioned, you are responsible for me getting, I can't tell you, probably 20 or 25 bookings done yesterday. But in the space of all those bookings, people writing to me asking for time and stuff, somebody named Erica Bradley was in there and said, sorry it's been so long it took me so long to get back to you. I'm interested in booking an interview. I thought she was a comedian, Erica Bradley, because I know lots of Ericas. I know from all the different comedy stuff. There's several Ericas, and I had her confused with one. So I said 10:15 on October 28th, and she said, "Oh, perfect." And then she sent me an invite to go to her studio, North Shore Television, wanting to interview Matt Napo for his campaign for Congress in 2024. So it's my for North Shore TV. I will be on the 28th for this show. It will be off the air. I guess I'm gonna take the day off unless somebody wants to host without me. But I will be on television talking about my platform.
That's awesome. That's great.
I think it's going to be, because I'm not going to get dressed. I'm not going in a suit and tie to the fucking thing. I'm going in there as me. I don't know how.
Wear like a tuxedo T-shirt. That'd be great. That'd be fucking awesome.
But when they get a load of my platform, I don't know if they're going to think I'm I'm joking, or they will take me seriously. I'm not sure how it's going to fly. I really,
bro. If you get elected to Congress, you have to like hire me as your fucking assistant or something. I will fucking be your page all fucking day. I will run around DC like a fucking madman.
Wouldn't that be just amazing
That'd be fucking bananas, bro.
Well, I would get thrown out of Congress, and that's kind of my plan. And this is what I'm going to say.
We get.
I want to be like Jesus and turn over the tables in the
Yeah.
temple. I want to.
Yeah.
I want to
Yes.
go and get censured the first chance I get to speak and say, I want to know who bought, but who you're working for, because you're not working for the people. Who pays your salary? Where you getting? I want
Yeah.
everybody to disclose every single one of their
I
donors.
mean, I have seen a couple other Congress people go off like that. There are, and listen, there it's starting to happen, Matt. You're not as crazy as you think. Some of us, there are some people that are getting on board with what we're talking about, because I know I've seen some coverage of that, but I want to see more of it, and I want to see it from you, buddy.
I want to get on everybody. Because my campaign is I'm not taking $1 from anybody. I refuse, whether they. I'm not seeking donations, or even if they offer it, I'm not going to accept it. I'm not taking any money from anybody. And the Federal Elections Commission already has questioned me about it twice, because I had to fill out 2 reports where are my donations and where are my expenditures, and I put zeros on them, and I got a call like, lying on campaign forms is a federal a crime, and we don't want to see you going down. I said, I'm not taking it, and they couldn't believe. You're not taking any money from it. How the fuck do you plan on? They didn't say how the fuck. How do you plan on running a real campaign without any money and without without any spending any money?
No, I do have a question, because I think now I'm pretty sure that there is some like radio limitations when you're running, but is podcasting not lumped in with that?
It's not mentioned, and every one of, like, Ted Cruz has a podcast.
Okay.
Okay. Marjorie Green has a podcast. Lots of them do. So I don't think they're forcing. It's not really broadcasting.
Right.
I would definitely give equal time to my opponents. They want to come on every day and debate me every day, because my opponent's going to be in jail. George Lopez, is that his name? I can't even. That's his name, right? I can't think of it now. Somebody help me. Is it? I'm having a brain fart moment. This is not good. I'm Mitch McConnell.
Wow. I don't know.
George, I think it's Lopez. I'm gonna have to look at it. I'm losing my mind. Anyway, he's gonna be in jail because he definitely, he committed campaign. He's been a crook his whole life. So, and I don't know. So far, the Democrats have not announced who is running on that side. I know they're going to have a primary for that. There's a couple of people interested in it. I'm running as an independent. I don't need to be affiliated with any party. I'm not spending any money. My plan is to just go to like the supermarket, stand in the parking lots and shake hands and tell people I'm running for one term. I'm not looking to make any major changes in public policy, because you can't in one term anyway. I'm just looking to highlight the one thing that I care most about is dirty money in politics. Who's actually paying for the people in the office? And if that resonates with people, then maybe I have a chance. And if it doesn't, at least I will get some publicity for the show.
Yep.
Matt Neville for Congress.
Yeah. No, I think it's a solid plan, because I think there's plenty of people that want to know who's being paid by who's in whose pocket. Okay, if we can't trust any of you, we at least got to know where your fucking alliances are.
Right. Well, I haven't been promoting Govs, but as much as I should, being on Govs Network. But we have to say goodbye to Govs. I'm sorry.
Bye, Govs.
We read the schedule yesterday.
Yes, we did.
Gary Valentine is the big highlight that you
yes.
Go to govsradio.com and sort it out yourselves. Okay. I don't have time for this nonsense. By the way, get yourself some